Thank you so much again. Let me start my questions then. So yesterday it was very interesting and remarkable event. My first question is, it looked to many Turkish viewers and readers, it was a very unusual event. How do you come up with idea inviting U.S. prosecutors and FBI agents to give an award at FTD?
Well, this was part of an ongoing award. We've given the award twice already. We gave one, the first one in 2015 to a Manhattan prosecutor who had engaged in a number of cases involving terrorism and victims of terrorism. We followed up the following year with the same award being presented to a judge who had presided over several cases involving Iran. So, in other words, this is now part of an established pattern of giving this award to those who have dedicated their lives to pursuing justice in cases involving terrorism and Iran. And so it was very much in line with our previous awards.
Wow, thank you so much. This is a great insight. My second question, I am going to go a little more specific a little later on, but I wanted to get your take on what is your main take from Special Agent Jennifer Reynolds' speech on Zarrab and Attila and Halkbank case yesterday?
Well, first of all, I should note that we were obviously very familiar with the story. So, but we learned a lot about some of the details involved in the case as she described it. It was very dramatic, and it really showed the amount of time and effort that the FBI and the Southern District of New York spent in trying to learn and analyze the Reza Zarrab corruption network. I would say that there were three primary takeaways that perhaps were new or different from what we had learned in the past. The big takeaways would be one, that they viewed the Zarrab case and the corruption as reaching as high as the Prime Minister's office, and that I don't believe has ever been stated by a public official in the past. Of course, the news stories have reflected this in the past, but never have I heard a U.S. official state this in such a clear way. The second point, which I thought was also very interesting, was that they viewed the leaked Istanbul prosecutor's report as a report that matched their own independent research and analysis. And so what I learned from that is that this report, which up until now has been described in Turkey as Gulenist propaganda and misinformation, was apparently more legitimate than previously believed, and that it really does match up with FBI intelligence and analysis. That, I think, would be interesting to Turkish consumers. The last point, which I think also made a bit of a splash yesterday, is that the FBI special agent indicated that they are still looking at the vast amounts of information and data that they collected during the course of this case. And what that means, of course, is that they are still looking at potential violators of American bank laws and sanctions legislation and regulation. It's also probably worth noting, and I think few understand this, is that Reza Zarrab himself remains a witness for the prosecution. He was not sentenced during the Attila case, which means that even though he has pled guilty, they are still using his information, and they will continue to use his information until he is sentenced. So right now, he has been providing information to the Southern District of New York for roughly 9 months. That's a long time to be sharing information with U.S. authorities.
Got you. Thank you so much. You talk about a little bit of this police report, December 17 police report. My question is, obviously you mentioned that this police chief, Hüseyin Korkmaz, he narrowly escaped the prison on charges of membership of the Gülen group and accused by the Turkish ruling party as attempting to overthrow the government, while the FBI special agent basically described him as a hero. So on the one hand, a U.S. ally accuses him traitor, and the U.S. official publicly describes him as a hero. What should we take away from this situation?
That's a good question. I mean, look, I think that this is going to remain a controversial issue. Of course, the Turkish government is going to continue to vilify him and the many others who made these assertions in the police report. The FBI special agent very clearly conveyed that the information that Korkmaz had amassed and that he ultimately smuggled out of the country was a match with the intelligence that they accumulated through emails and text messages and the witness statements involved in this case. So I think that this will remain a controversy, but at least in the eyes of the U.S. justice system, his information remains credible, and that means that he remains credible.
I understand. You already conveyed us very clearly what the FBI special agent thinks about the case and potential implication going forward. You have what experience on this case and been following this case for years. What is your personal expectation going forward? Do you think there will be no indictments?
Look, if you listen carefully to the speech, it does seem that there will be more action taken. What that action is not clear. The FBI and the Department of Justice are notoriously secretive and vague about these issues, and so I wouldn't expect anyone to know until new announcements are possibly made. From my perspective, the real key here moving forward is the question of what happens with Halkbank. We continue to hear reports about the Turkish government refusing to acknowledge wrongdoing and refusing to agree to pay a fine. This is an unprecedented move. Most banks, in fact, I think all banks that have been accused of Iran sanctions busting by the Treasury Department in the past have moved quickly to address the issue and to put it behind them because of the fear of reputational damage and the fear that this could damage them in the eyes of the financial community. The Turkish government and Halkbank appeared unwilling to move on this. And in the process, what's even more interesting is we hear reports of the Turkish government trying to negotiate the release of Andrew Brunson, in exchange for letting go of the issue of the fine.
Yes. So clearly there is different strategy is being followed by the Turkish government on this case.
Clearly.
I think my final question, now that there's a new sanctions regime coming down, and apparently it will include oil and energy, I think its deadline is November. Yesterday, U.S. State Department Special Envoy Brian Hook, again at the FTD event, I believe it stated that Turkey can be classified as secondary sanction if Turkey does not abide by the sanction regime and doesn't cut the oil. What is your expectation? What is the potential scenario going forward, which will be in next few weeks or next few months?
Well, the deadline for all of this will be November, and we're all looking far in advance on that, with the expectation that there will be quite a bit of drama related to this decision. What I would say is that Turkey right now is in a precarious position. That not only do they have the standoff with the United States over Brunson and some of the other hostages held by Ankara, you have the Halkbank issue, you have the decision by the administration to reassess our trade relationship. All of this has contributed to the plummeting of the lira and a sense that a financial crisis is looming. The last thing that Turkey needs is to incur the wrath of the Treasury Department because of its violations of U.S. sanctions. And so while we have seen Turkish officials indicate that they are unwilling to work with the United States, it would, in my view, be financial suicide and possibly political suicide to ignore these warnings. So Turkey has a lot of important decisions to make on a range of issues, all I think very much interlocking and all very much leading back to the question of whether they wish to be legitimate players in the financial community or whether they want to continue to flaunt U.S. laws and regulations as it pertains to terror finance and Iran sanctions.
I understand. Thank you so much for your time. This has been a great and very insightful and very helpful interview. We will publish this very quickly on Ahval.